video, I'm going to show you how to play your guitar in DADGAD tuning. Now, DADGAD tuning is a very beautiful tuning for your guitar playing, opening up many possibilities to you that just aren't available in standard tuning. Hi, this is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net, and welcome to this tutorial where I will be showing you 3 ways to play your guitar in DADGAD tuning. Now, to tune your guitar to DADGAD, you need to alter the 6th, 2nd and 1st strings to a D, A and D note respectively. So I've tuned my low E to a D, I've tuned my 2nd string to an A and my top string to a D. And when I strum the strings together, I get DADGAD tuning. And you may realize where the name comes from because of course we get a D, A, D, G, A and D open strings. So DADGAD tuning. But it's also known by a few other names, one of them being D sus4 tuning, and that's because when we strum the strings we get this beautiful D suspended 4 tuning, because that's, well, sound I should say, it's a D suspended 4 chord when I strum those notes together on the open strings. It's also known as Celtic tuning due to its roots in Celtic music, and D modal tuning basically because when you strum the strings, you don't get a major or modal or minor chord. It's a bit more of a modal sound. DADGAD, apart from Celtic music, being found in Celtic music, can be found in other styles of music too, including folk music of the 60s. Bands like Led Zeppelin in the 70s used DADGAD tuning often, and some acoustic guitar players of today and recent times, Andy McKee, Pierre Bensusan used DADGAD tuning very regularly. Pierre Bensusan actually uses it exclusively. He'll only play and write in DADGAD tuning. So it's a very versatile tuning. It's a beautiful sound. There's some really cool things that we can get from it. And it's also particularly great for fingerpicking guitars. So let me introduce you to DADGAD tuning and get you playing in this tuning on your guitar. Okay, so let's start off with some chords in DADGAD tuning. So I'm going to give you some very, very simple chords to play here, but they sound beautiful and are anything but plain. The chord progression I'm going to play is going to be in the key of D, and we're going to be using the 1, 4, 5, a D, a G and an A chord. For my D chord, it's actually going to be a D power chord, but not as you would typically play a power chord. If I take my first finger and put it on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string and then strum all 6 strings, I get this big open D power chord. And that's because I've only got D and A notes happening here. I've got D, A, D, A, and D. Okay, so just the D and the A note giving us a big open D power chord. Now that's my D chord. My G chord is simply going to be played with my pinky on the 5th fret of string 6, and that pinky will also block the 5th string. We don't want to hear that 5th string. It would clash with this note if we were to hear it. But all the other open strings above will sound, and we get this beautiful G, I guess we call this a G suspended 2 chord. Beautiful sound. Okay. And it's G sus2 because we've got a G note in the bass here, we've got open D, we've got an open G string, we've got the A, which gives us the suspended 2, that's the suspended 2 of the chord there, and the D on top. Really nice sound, and one single finger is all we need to play that chord. And then we're also going to play an A7 suspended 4 chord. Big name, simple chord. All you got to do is take that first finger and now put it in the 2nd fret on the 4th string and strum from the 5th string. And that's our A7 suspended chord. Okay, so you've got D power chord, you've got a G sus2, you've got an A7 suspended 4, back to our D. Okay, really nice sound. Big open sound, some nice coloured chords there too with the suspensions of the G and the A. So let's put those into a simple little 1, 4, 5 chord progression of sorts here, and I'll just demonstrate it with a finger picking pattern. I'll use a Travis picking pattern here, okay, and I'll play the chord progression and you can have a hear how it sounds in DADGAD tuning. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so really rich, lush sound with some very simple chords in DADGAD tuning. You'll notice at the end I played some open string or artificial harmonics here. And they happen, of course, at the 7th and 5th frets and can be utilized really nicely in a DADGAD tuning. So very simple, but really cool, big open sound with some simple chords there in DADGAD tuning. There's a lot more, of course, that you can do with chords in this tuning as there is in any tuning. If you want to check out some of those ideas, then click the link in the description below this video and you'll see that I've got a really cool e-book or an e-guide there on DADGAD tuning for your acoustic guitar playing. Okay, so let's talk about scales here, or melodies if you like. Lots of ways you can play scales, but let's look at a really simple way to be up and going with scales in a DADGAD tuning. Stick with single string scales for now. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we play a scale on a single string. I'm going to go to the key of D major here. I'm going to play it on the top string. So now, of course, my top string is open D now. So there's my D, there's my root. Here's my E, my F sharp, my G, A, B, C sharp, and D. Okay, so they're the notes I can use for my key of D major, and all the other open strings here will work with those notes, any one of them. So we can get this really nice open sound again with the droning of the open strings with the notes of my scale. Okay. Right, it works really, really nice. You can't go wrong. As long as you stay in the key with your fretted notes, all these open strings are going to really work nicely and give you that open droning sound. You could play your scale on the 4th string, any string. So if I take the open D string, 4th, and I play my scale E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, I could do the same thing. All works as long as I stay in D, if that's my key. But all the open strings will work beautifully with a single string scale. You can also strum like this. I'm picking here because it works really nicely in DADGAD, but you could strum. You get some really nice big open chords in the key of D here. That works also with the scale on the 4th string. Just notes from the scale with the strumming. Okay, so all big open sounds, really, really simple stuff, but a really, really nice sound. Now, D major, you're not limited to D major. Remember, it's a D sus4 tuning. Remember at the start I said it's neither major or minor. It's open to interpretation, if you like, because of this suspended 4 quality to the sound. Which means all these open strings are going to work for any D-based scale. You know, all the D modes, all the modes with a D as a bass would work, and D minor would work. If I wanted to change that scale to a D minor scale, I'd get D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So we get that minor tonality now with our drone of the strings. Okay, all works beautifully in DADGAD tuning. Same thing on the 4th string. Okay. Okay, so a third way I want to show you that you can use for DADGAD tuning, a device here, is the octaves and fifths. Now we can do this in standard tuning, but it won't sound as good. And it's much easier to play in DADGAD tuning, so you can move it, move these intervals around the fretboard a little easier on the guitar. So the octave shape, there's 3 ways that we can play it. We can play it either with the 6th and 4th strings, because they're both Ds. Okay, so together octaves. So if I took those two strings and just played the 3rd fret, I get 2 F notes, 2 Gs. Okay. So very easy to move the octave shape around like that. I can also play the 5th and 2nd strings together, giving me A notes, of course, and then work my way up and down with an octave shape using the 5th and 2nd strings. Or I could use the 4th and 1st strings because of course they're both D notes. Okay, same thing, just moving that shape up and down. So I can get the octave shape in a single fret in DADGAD tuning, which is very cool. And create little riffs like pentatonic thing there. Okay, I could play the major scale that I was playing before on a single string in octave shapes this way. So simply playing the 4th and 1st strings together, for example. So very easy to play the scale in octaves. And of course you could bring in open strings with that octave. Create all sorts of cool things with that. So that's the octave shape. That's very cool. The 5th is very cool too, and very similar in that you can play it within a single fret. And the options you have here to do that are the 4th and 2nd strings, because of course we've got a D and an A there, so a 5th apart, D to A. That really cool 5th sound. It's got that medieval sort of tonality about it, doesn't it? And we've got the 3rd and 1st strings. Of course, we've got G and D, and together we get a 5th as well. So let's playing around with the sort of riff I was playing before with the octaves. That's the octaves, and that's the 5ths. Right, really simple because it's all within a fret here, and of course I could play my major scale or any scale in 5ths. And like the octaves, I could, I'm going to a minor tonality there, I didn't ever mean to go minor there, but I went with it. Okay, that's covering up an error. But it works, right? I just went into the minor key, but I'm harmonizing the scale in 5ths. And it's very easy to do because I can get that harmony, that interval, within a single fret as I could the octaves. So octaves and 5ths work really cool, really easy, really great sound in DADGAD tuning. So that's another tool that you should play around with when exploring this really cool sound on your guitar. If you like this video on DADGAD tuning, then you'll love this ebook I've created for you called The Acoustic Guitarist's Guide to DADGAD Tuning. In this ebook, you will learn more about DADGAD tuning and what it can bring to your guitar playing. You will learn more beautiful sounding DADGAD chords and progressions, how to play the blues in a DADGAD tuning, including awesome sounding blues riffs and lines, plus further work in the area of scales and melodies to get that sound that is DADGAD into your guitar playing. So click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook audio, The Acoustic Guitarist's Guide to DADGAD Tuning. Let me know in the comments section what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see covered in future videos. I read every comment and I would love to hear your suggestions. If you like this video, then hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I next release a video. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. Thank you as always for watching this video. I appreciate your time and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next video.